coming up soon, probably like 10 seconds.
What is this lag?
The Billy moment.
Brother. You know, I
Nope.
nailed this in practice, by the way. Like, 5 minutes.
I think it started.
Yep, sounds like you're good to go. If you would like, I am happy to do some commentary.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Well, so this is Klonoa 100%, which means that we're going to be grabbing 150 gems in every level, in addition to all 6 Phantomillions. And that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. It seems kind of weird that there would be a category for the gems in addition to the Phantomillions, and instead of just the one that grabs all the Phantomillions. But it turns out that the gems are actually a really difficult thing to do, because including invisible eggs and various other obscure locations, as well as what we're about to see coming up, the Mirror Spirit. Which are little fairies that you break the bubbles that hold them in, and they temporarily double the value of all of the gems. And unless you collect more or less all of the gems that the game allows you to within the time when the Mirror Spirit is active, you cannot reach the 150 needed to 100% a given level. So it actually is extremely risky, because if you grab one of the Mirror Spirits and you're a little too slow to grab all the gems, and on my feed I'm seeing the Mirror Spirit right now, which means it's probably has just finished for Toro. But if you don't collect them in time, you actually basically have to start over, which is really not great. So there's a high chance that that there will be intentional deaths or level resets or something like that from a lot of the, if not all of the runners in this little showcase we're doing right now. Hopefully we will not see too much of that, but it definitely it makes the category a lot different from any of the other categories, just because it's just so much more punishing than any of the other categories, where unless you make a pretty big oversight, you're not going to have to kind of completely restart anything. And so because of that, obviously the estimates are going to be a lot longer. The feed is completely frozen for me, sorry, so I can't see what's going on at all. But yeah, so the estimates are going to be a lot longer. There's going to be a lot more kind of risk involved, but that means there's also going to be a lot more, hopefully a lot more excitement going on. And I'm just going to try and refresh Twitch really quickly, see if I can. Well, I think I'm like, no, it's still freezing for me. Oh, okay, the stream died completely, so it's not just me.
Is it the whole stream or mine?
No, it's the whole stream. You're good,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Infinity Gene is saying that OBS is freezing, so yeah, you're great.
Okay, yeah.
just keep playing. I assume you're probably around near the first boss now?
I'm entering the last room before the first boss.
Cool. All right, stream is back. Coming up on the first boss after collecting a couple gems here. Toro has wisely taken some safety gems that you can get by doing a little exploit with one of the giant moos. So that means that it is okay to miss a couple. There are some safety gems that you can get that are not developer intended that will allow you to actually end a level with more than 150. And obviously the counter only has 2 digits, so it wraps around. So if you see at the end of a level a number like 50 or 51 or 52 or 53, you know almost with certainty that the level has been completed successfully. The first boss, lots of damage boost. It's going to be the same strategy that we see in other categories if you have seen runs of this game before. So just getting hit by the boss, running through the boss, and then hitting the boss as soon as the invulnerability frames end. There are some kind of animation manipulations that are going on as well as some RNG, but it's a pretty straightforward strategy. You get it done in about 20 seconds. We're just starting now one of my favorite levels, although it is fairly brutal in this category, which is the Deep in the Dying Forest.
All right.
There's a lot
Take a minute here.
Hello, Neil.
Stop Moser. Share my OBS stream really quick. Let's see. A second here. Let me know if you can see that. And now we can go. Kind of lined up with the intro music there. Yeah, now we are finally good.
Yeah, so Neil is just getting started as well, while Toro is making quick work of the Deep in the Dying Forest, sniping that egg, and then doing this really difficult mirror spirit where you have to break this giant moo and grab all of the gems from it before they disappear, and doing that very cleanly. That is one of the sort of risky aspects of this level, because the gems can the bouncing gems that can actually clip out of bounds too on occasion.
Yeah, it sucks when it happens.
It actually happened to me a
several
couple
places.
days ago.
Yeah. So just due to no fault of your own whatsoever, the run can just die. And obviously in a marathon like this, not a big deal. You just reset to checkpoint or restart the level if you absolutely need to, and then go from there. Because stuff like that's going to happen to everyone. But obviously in a PB attempt, that's pretty catastrophic if that happens.
Yeah, it really is.
That one gem.
Making some progress in 1-2, barring the somewhat shaky start to the run because of the audio switching and also the OBS sharing.
Yeah, these
I don't
gems
think
on the
my bandwidth is gonna be too bad, and I collected a gem. I gotta die. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh shit, did I not? I don't think I got a checkpoint. Oh no! No, wait, I did. I did. Thank God. I did. Oh my God, that would have actually been really bad. Oh. Okay. I almost like completely lost an entire minute there, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah, and Toro just these leaves are quite finicky. So having to go back and grab the gem from one of the on top one of the leaves, but managing to do that without taking any deaths, which is about all you can hope for in this level. So that was actually quite a clean Vision 2-1. And Neil is just starting Vision 1-2 now.
I'm gonna do some weird wall clip shenanigans near the middle of the level. Hopefully I can get them fast, just to illustrate some interesting routing on this category.
Yep, and doing this swag double jump there to get back up onto the platform,
The railing.
which is a cool thing to look at. Ooh, nice frame perfect hit on that enemy.
Oh man, yeah, that was a little silly. Yeah, but we're gonna do some stuff here. So effectively, one thing about this category is that we only care about having the game consider any given level 100% completed by the blue gem that's labeled on each level after you're getting 150 gems minimum. That being said, there are a few levels where you can get more than 150 gems, and we can abuse this. And this is one of the levels in particular where we can swap some gems with other gems that are faster to get and save on some walking. And we're going to see that here soon enough. It'll be pretty neat. I like to call them imposter gems because I don't think the developers ever intended for you to collect gems this way. Of course, the most you might have some other sort of way of identifying them. Would you?
No, I was just going to say that Taro has meanwhile done the first wall clip in his route in the Kingdom of Jugpot to get through a wall and avoid having to go through a pair of doors that take several seconds, so saving quite a few seconds there. And then there are a number of ways to do this next room, so we'll see which one is used here.
Okay, so I got 2 wall clips, and I essentially skipped like 8 seconds of walking off of the top rail of grass there, and also the bottom row. And that's what essentially would be the optimal way of doing that, at least at this point in time with the current knowledge of the game. Of course, it's contingent on you, or I guess anybody doing a run for this category, getting the wall clips pretty fast to maximize that time save. And there, I would say it was a pretty average performance. And you'll see right here, I'll be hitting 50 gems in the counter after collecting 150. There's no third value in this gem count, unfortunately. So typically the given sign of reaching 150 gems in any given level is rolling back over 50 twice. First time for the 50 and the second time for 150. This modular sort of, I guess, display helps you keep track of your gem count. Some good progress here.
As Neil fights the first boss, Taro is starting the second boss now, which is Pamela. This one's very execution heavy.
I mean, leave alone the execution. There is some element of RNG involved as well, correct?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of it is manipulable, which is nice. But yeah, there's definitely a lot that you can't control. Fortunately, on average, the randomness only accounts for a few seconds if you do everything perfectly. But it is there. It's also one of the ones where not all of the mechanics are completely understood in terms of how different attacks get selected and things. Toro's getting some nice quick grabs off of the boss's diving attack, which is what you want to see.
Trying to maximize a cycle here for the first part of 2-1. I think I'm in line with it. Double jump there. Not exactly what I wanted, but it worked. Some camera manipulation here to toss this moo to the distance and pop that Phantom Island. I almost messed that up. That was really close.
Yep, this is the
64. Please tell me I got 64. Okay, good.
I mentioned before that one was a little risky that Neil is just doing, and we see that there. It can if you
pass through the geometry if you're unlucky.
All right, Toro's in Vision 3-1 now, which is one that I personally find very easy just to make an oversight and forget to collect one of the gems. So hopefully that won't happen to any of the runners here today. But there are plenty of other things that can go wrong.
Yeah. To mention the crash that can possibly happen in 3-2, which is why I'm going to take a safety save after 3-1 in the rare event that something unfortunate happens.
Yeah, I should
Again,
mention that in
some leaf movement here. It was actually pretty clean. You were saying, Emoser?
Yeah, I was going to say, I should mention that in most versions of the game, there's another pretty severe risk, which is that, and both of the runners now are on the NAM collection version, which does have this glitch, where if you skip a cutscene within about half a second, and then wrap the gem counter around 100, you can actually get the game into a state where the gem counter overflows and wraps around to some huge negative number, which causes the game to crash. Toro has avoided that in the riskiest spot, so we should be just fine.
I didn't even know that's a thing.
It is a thing. It's not super common, but it definitely bites runners every so often. I think it's more common in other categories, although I had heard
90% is one of them.
Yeah, I had heard it happened a lot in this category, but I don't really see the opportunity for it to happen.
It happens if you do the blue gem first. Man, I missed the jump here.
Yeah, Neil, failing one of the hardest intended jumps in the game. It's a very tricky jump, double jump that you have to time in a really awkward way to get up, to collect a Phantomillion up there.
Is it one of the walls that's supposed to be glitched for a reason of awkward movement?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the way I tend to tackle is that I do the double jump and then start moving, so that I know that I have the height to clear. That typically helps, but still sometimes it just screws you over. I'm gonna try to do another wall clip here. Got it?
Yeah, and Toro is doing some, or probably, because the feed is a bit behind for me, but has done some interesting movement in order to get a to kind of break some of the cycles here and collect an egg a bit faster. I see missing the egg, unfortunately, and so having to go back and grab a backup enemy, but that sort of weird sequence of moves is still faster than doing it the intended way. And now doing the wall clip here, or the door clip I should say, which is a fairly difficult trick here, but making it through quite quickly, which is great to see. And then auto scroller, which is pretty risky part. You have to collect all the gems here before, or if you miss any of the gems, obviously you have to restart the auto scroller. And there's also a mirror spirit here. So
talking about 3-1 truck section.
Yeah. There's a lot that could go wrong here. And unfortunately, if anything goes wrong, just as a restart of the auto scroller, which means you have to figure out how to intentionally die. But it looks like Toro has made it through cleanly. You can just hug the right wall for the last section of it, which is convenient.
We were timing some stuff earlier, and we found out that this wall clip actually is faster in the categories, so going for it. Of course. All right, there we go. There's about like 6 second leeway that you can give yourself to be able to get the wall before it ends up becoming slower. So I'd say that's a pretty good window to work with. All right. Now I am entering Pamela. Hitting this switch. You want to talk about the loading transition screens here, Moster?
Do I?
There's a point of difference between NAM Collection and the original. I feel like would be neat to address.
Yeah, we don't have anyone right now running on the other versions, but yeah, there is a difference in terms of loading times just generally, with NAM Collection being a little bit faster. Toro has successfully completed Vision 3.1 with 150 gems, which is always good to see, because that's one of the riskier ones, and no intentional deaths needed or anything like that, which is fantastic. But yeah, so the loading transitions for the bosses, it's interesting because there's an animation that plays that is really just kind of a stealth progress bar showing how much loading has been done, and based on that, NAM Collection is significantly faster in all the bosses, but there seems to be some kind of artificial lag built into it, probably to avoid some kind of crash from stuff loading in the wrong order. At least that's my best guess. And so some of the boss transitions in NAM Collection, despite the version being the fastest overall, are actually slower just due to this weird kind of artificial pause that's put in. No one really understands kind of in any amount of detail why that happens. But it is an interesting thing, and it means that NAM Collection isn't as much faster than the other versions as you would normally expect it to be. NAM Collection being a PS2 port of the original PlayStation game that was released as part of a collection. So the graphics and everything are more or less preserved from the original, but it is
native code.
But it is
used one way you've described it.
Mm-hmm.
Messing around there unintentionally, trying to grab a Moo by facing in the opposite direction. I'm gonna try to do this trick. It's a form of door animation skip. It's a little precise, requiring some pretty fast inputs, but it looks cool. You landed, so let's see. Did I get it?
Mirror spirits in. Oh yeah, Neil just missing the door clip there. Charles made it through some mirror spirits in Vision 3.2. Which I think is pretty much the... I don't think there's much that can really go wrong in 3.2. I shouldn't jinx it, though. But there's nothing super scary. Until the boss of 3.2, which is Gelgbalm, which is quite a notorious... boss. There are quite a few different. Game. Well, it's notorious for all of them, really, because the strategy, the optimal strategies are quite difficult. It can freeze in NAM Collection if you do something very specific, but just kind of don't do that. Is my
just don't have this skill issue.
And it's at least in my opinion, you sort of have to try to do it. But I guess depending on what you can do it, you can do it unintentionally. But you essentially have to get damaged while trying while being in the double jumping animation. And that can only realistically happen if you are like right to the side of the boss's shells, because otherwise the double jump animation is moving you upwards, so you're not going to get hit by the boss. As long as you're not kind of standing in a very specific position when you do the double jump, it's generally safe.
I'm doing the wall clip or the door clip right here. It's another one of these tricks that actually is used in most of the main categories, with the exception of no skips. And I'm glad that this one specific door clip is preserved in this category. None of the other ones seem to be completely viable, other than the animation skips. Sure.
Yeah, and Toro entering the boss. We're gonna see, hopefully, if all goes well, some pretty interesting cycle manipulations where what is supposed to be a kind of giant pollen grain attack that you have to jump over instead just kind of awkwardly moves away from you. If you see that, that is a sign that the boss is going very well.
Able to get through the truck section without messing anything up. I will say though, visually, I guess from the viewer's perspective, these little micro movements I was doing by tapping the D-pad is a byproduct of very janky collision that is present with those spiker enemies in the middle of that section. I think it has something to do with the drawing order, given that I think PlayStation doesn't have like a true Z buffer, if I'm not mistaken there. You want to elaborate on that a little bit, Moser, if you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk the boss first. Toro had a slightly unfortunate bit of luck with one of the enemies just throwing itself off the edge of the stage, but otherwise getting a very clean Galg Balm. Pretty much optimal. There's some different strategies for the last 2 hits that you can do, and it actually varies based on the game version. So we'll probably see a few different variations, but they're all fairly close to each other. When Balnor comes up on this boss in a little bit, that'll be one to watch because we expect to see probably the fastest.
And we have Balnor here joining us in the voice call.
What a coincidence! Yeah. So yeah, as Neil was saying, there's some glitches in the drawing order for the auto scroller. It doesn't really affect it mechanically, but if you miss one of the gems, it makes it look like the game really cheated you, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But really, it's just the issue is that the sprite order will be wrong. So things that you're in front of will appear to be behind you, or vice versa.
It's just a very unfortunate sort of situation. It maybe alludes to the point of this section potentially being rushed. That's one hypothesis you had.
What? I've never had that enemy spawn like this. That was weird. I've just lost my enemy and
tried to do a double jump storage. Did not work. I would have liked it too. It's alright though. Solid stuff here.
Yeah, I was not able to see exactly what was going on everyone's screens, but I think Toro just made it through the Mirror Spirit in 4-1, which is one of the, at least in the early game, one of the, well, if this is sort of
mid-game, I would say.
One of the rougher ones, because you need to really avoid the gems, hit the Mirror Spirit, and then double back for them.
And then go back. Yeah. And I just missed hitting this, missing this Phantom Island. A little silly. Fine, I'll just back a bit. See if I can grab this guy. Try again. Yeah, the camera was just not working in my favor there. Can I? Yeah, there you go.
Toro making it to the end of 4-1.
Not everything.
All right.
Nice. Perfect 1-2 beginning with the Mayor Ferry section.
Yeah, 95. Good. For this category, I typically have targets memorized in my head, so how many gems I should have at any given point of a level. I would say is pretty helpful learning this category.
Yeah, that's extremely important, I think, because if nothing else,
track.
and even if kind of you are best just to assume that you got everything. just having the reassurance as you go through the level that you haven't messed up is, in my opinion, pretty important.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to do a displacement clip here in a little bit. We were doing some wall clips earlier. This is essentially a different sort of wall clip. Functions a little uniquely. You want to elaborate on that a little bit, Amoser?
Yeah, it's just related to the fact that when you switch between two different planes, which essentially means two different pieces of ground that can be
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to grab some gems on the way.
sort of branching.
Which is fine.
The game, if you do a very specific one-frame turn, the game will displace you in one of two directions, and some of the time that is favorable and allows you to either clip through a wall or squeeze an enemy into a place where you're not supposed to. And so in that case, that lets us bring an enemy in here and skip some animation.
Specifically, well, I wouldn't really say it's animation. It's more of the moving platform having to position itself low enough for us to jump on it.
Yeah.
Which does take some considerable amount of time. I think it's like 8 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is in this category, but on average, it's about 7 seconds. But that might be more in this.
All right.
Yeah, so Neil doing Geld Bomb now. I think we'll see roughly the same strategy that we saw earlier.
Doing a little bit of a swag strat right there by walking into Geld Bomb using iframes. Not take damage.
Taro coming up on the 4th boss, which is Palladium. So far, a very clean run.
Nice.
Oh no.
Perfect. Fast Longo animation on the first hit.
Nice.
Nice. Got the quick Longo kill.
Oh yeah, Balneo are going for a really interesting Rongo-Longo strategy that is on average faster than what we've seen from the other runners.
Oh, that was close. That was extremely close. I was so close to crashing the game there. Oh man, I'm sorry for the little interruption. I just got a little bit of a jump scare.
Yeah, Toro hitting these triangles 2 at a time, successfully defeating the 4th boss.
Now,
yeah, Neil defeating Galgbom at the same time.
I'm gonna take that safety save. I was supposed to do it earlier, but I forgot. Yeah, all right. It takes a little bit of time, but I feel in a marathon setting like this, it would be somewhat crucial in the event that something goes wrong. Got the midpoint.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, crap.
Oh, and now we have
Is
all
the
4
whole gang
Klonoas.
here?
Oh,
The
Nice.
entire gang is here.
The gang's all here. Oh man,
yeah.
I've got really weird cycles right now. Okay, this should put me at 40. Yes, good.
Yeah, Neil making it through that kind of risky mirror spirit there.
There's slightly more risky movement in the later part of this level. On the moving platforms, I feel like it'll be exhilarating to watch, assuming that I don't actually fail it, of course. But
Yeah, there's a few cycles you can go for on those swinging platforms. Definitely. And yeah, we will hopefully see one of the fast ones.
Not from me. Maybe I think Balnor is probably gonna go for it too. Got some gems here. Nice.
Nice. I got the perfect last room, 2-1 last room. Perfect
Nice.
execution. With the... Oh, okay, that was weird. But basically perfect leaf execution. Oh.
Yeah, there is a really
Okay,
clean
I'm
cycle
using
you
a lot
can
of
do.
stupid time here, unfortunately. Waiting for that enemy to move. Voila. Not so much perfect anymore, but still very happy with. Okay.
One thing about this category that I can be thankful for is not having to worry about the massive sequence break that's done in any percent in all visions. Given that you have to go this way to get all the dreamstones along this path. Not that it's a bad trick by any stretch of the imagination, it's just tedious, especially since it's something you can easily mess up and get thrown off from.
Yeah, and Toro has been now in Vision 5-1 for a while, where you're collecting these 4 orbs, and has just gotten one of the hidden egg gems, which are among the more frustrating parts of this category until you get used to it, because you can very easily forget that there are invisible eggs that have gems that are indicated only by the shadow. We're also going to soon see the yellow orb, which goes from being in
It's
the
a
other
pretty annoying,
categories, more or less completely free, to one of the trickier mirror spirits to do kind of cleanly, because you have to do a very awkward series of jumps depending on exactly what route you want to do on these rotating things.
Some damage shenanigans there so we can get all those dreamstones.
Got them.
I
I
should have
never
mentioned
understood the
earlier-
premise of Klonoa running specifically along these water-like paths.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't mention this when Toro was doing it, but yeah, Neil running along these waterfalls, which is not great as far as collecting the stones goes, because you actually end up if you miss one of them, you can't go back for it, because these waterfalls push you forward consistently. And Toro making it cleanly through the yellow orb that I was mentioning earlier, which is always good to see.
Yeah, you want to mention the left plus right strategy that's banned in all categories.
Yeah, although it doesn't. It's in the waterfalls Neil was just on. If you hold left and right together, which you can only do on unofficial controllers, because the official PlayStation controllers do not even allow you to have those buttons held down at the same time. Depending on where you are, it'll either make you go backwards very slowly or forwards very quickly. In fact, if you're going to the right, it speeds you up. If you're going to the left, it makes you go backwards.
Okay.
So in earlier levels, you can use it to backtrack, but obviously not allowed on leaderboards if you do that.
I will provide a counter argument. It's actually possible to do this sort of strategy technically on official hardware through PSP, given that there is a sort of native button remapping feature on that platform specifically. Of course, it still kind
does
of
it actually
goes
work?
against. Yes, it does. I've tested
interesting.
it out before. Unfortunately, I have no way of currently capturing it because I don't have a component cable to connect to the device itself. But I can confirm through what would this technically be, like a witness testimony that it does work on PSP.
That is interesting.
Although I wouldn't even think it'd be like a sort of ideal device to run the game on, given that it's not any better than what would be like DuckStation are using, PS2 using FDS, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been analyzed.
Yeah, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's close. It's probably among the faster ways to play the game, but not quite as fast as this one.
Yeah.
No perfect Pamela.
You know, it's funny, game that's very similar to this, it's called Tomba, actually has its current fastest version doable on the PSP thanks to some form of menu optimization that's exclusive to that platform. Yeah, I don't know, it's a little tidbit I would figure to share. I am a little saddened that Tomba is supposed to be one of the games done for this marathon, but unfortunately was not able to get enough runners for it, so hopefully we'll be able to see it in the future.
Neil now wrapping up Palladium, entering Vision 5-1 as well, while Toro is now in Vision 5-2, which has this very horrifying day-night cycle that causes platforms to appear and disappear, as well as to cause the enemies to become invincible, which is especially for sections like the one that he is doing right now, potentially kind of a big problem, because not only do you need to have the not only do you need to do the Mirror Spirit, get all the gems, which you just did perfectly, but you need to also have the day-night cycle be where it needs to be, and there are some very obscure rules that influence how that works.
Got the good cycle.
Oh, did I get it? Yes, let's go. Got the door clip in 3-1. The door opening animation skip. Nice. And my music, my game disc. I don't know if it's the game disc on my PS2, but
Does it skip the music track sometimes?
It's producing some hot tunes right about now. It's like stepping the music.
And wasn't there somebody that was making remixes of Klonoa soundtracks? I believe it was.
Yeah, it was Noob Killer
name.
He made a couple.
Yeah. You know, Klonoa is certainly a good game with a solid original soundtrack to make remixes of, I will say.
Definitely.
Yeah, Toro. Unfortunately, I'm way behind. So I say that he's resetting one of the cycles, which is kind of the optimal way to do this. I'm sure that actually happened like 20 seconds ago. But by going in and out of a door while the transition is happening, that actually will cause the cycle to flip, which is a really important thing to know, both because in this category and in all visions, it's actually optimal to do that, or at least optimal in the most common routes. There may be a faster route that avoids it altogether. I'm actually not sure.
While you were talking, I was going to say that I was about to do the movement for the yellow mirror spirit without actually breaking the mirror spirit.
Okay.
And I had to stop myself, and I was like, wait, hold on, something doesn't seem right. And we were able to thankfully recover that.
Yeah, another thing to mention about that one is that one and one of the ones in 6-1, at least I find it's really easy to accidentally grab one of the gems early. In 5-1, it's just a question of it's very easy to accidentally jump into it. And in 6-1, which we'll see in a bit, you essentially have to grab, or you have to break the clock.
I might have to restart the level.
What?
Oh no!
What happened? Did you? Oh no! Did you re-enter a level?
No, I broke the big move, but then I forgot to collect one of his gems.
Oh no!
What stage was that?
In 2-2. I don't have to restart, but I did have to, die so I could restart from checkpoint.
It could be a lot worse.
Oh, man, that's one of the things about this category. You make a little mistake like that, you have to off yourself to be able to try it again in game.
Yeah. I should mention that the giant moves, not only is there a risk that the gems that bounce around can clip out of bounds, they are also temporary, and if they fall too far away, they despawn. So there's lots of ways that you can have those just kind of end your run.
Thankfully, I did not have any in so far.
Whoops.
With 2-1 and 3-1. Oh my god, dude. The music is just amazing.
And Toro is currently fighting Joka, which is in my opinion, the hardest boss. Oh, Neil just did a really fast strategy in 5-1.
In this, in this section, I was about to mention it, but I didn't want to jinx it, so I kind of stayed focused. It was pretty clean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to grab the start.
Yeah, strategy borrowed from the no skips category that Balnor found a while ago, to essentially avoid having to wait for an enemy to respawn. Yeah.
Oh. You actually went for that trick first try? Nice.
We're entering cycle based.
So far the run is going fine for me. Some time loss in 2-2 and 2-1, but so far it's been going good. But now comes one of the harder parts.
Right.
Oh, for once I don't fail it. Okay, well.
Oh, good. Okay, I got the clip through the fire, and was able to do this first section pretty clean. It's a little unfortunate because, like, you want to be able to just keep moving by instead of hitting that switch, but you can't because those moves that you would use to break the eggs in the background there don't respawn after you move to the right. So it's somewhat imperative that you actually break the egg before moving forward. It's just one of those weird things.
God. Okay, this is not good.
All right, but here we go.
Not great.
Toro's
Got
in
me
6-1
getting a
now,
frame perfect jump off of the spring.
I guess I don't lose any health here.
which is one of the biggest sequence breaks in this category. I assume Toro will be going for, where you do one of the sections that fortunately doesn't have many gems in the beginning. So you do a wall clip and enter it from the back. And we should be seeing that shortly.
I think I was the one. Are you talking about 6-1?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I was the first person to implement that strategy for this category specifically. It's crazy how much time it saves, and it's kind of borrowed from All Visions, which is a similar category without the overhead of worrying about Dreamstones.
Yeah, it's essentially just a copy of that strategy, except that you do need to re-enter a door to respawn some of the enemies to allow the backtracking, because you have to backtrack a little bit further than you do in All Visions. In All Visions, you just keep the enemies despawned, and it actually makes it faster than if the enemies were there. But here, you have to make it up. You have to make it past some jumps that require enemies.
Oh crap! I don't think I'm gonna make this. No, I did not make it.
Toro making very quick work of that backtrack section, which is good to see.
It's fine. Thankfully, there was a fast way to die there, and I'm gonna have to die again. No. Yeah,
Neil and the Mirror Spirit in 5-2 that I was mentioning earlier, where a lot of different cycles happening all at once. It's a very risky one, which unfortunately means that oftentimes you will need to die and restart it a couple times. Fortunately, there's a checkpoint right there, so making it through it still really.
It does put me also on a somewhat desirable cycle to go for it, which is, I would say, a good thing. Just wait a second here.
Toro doing some nice riding some platforms, and then going into
okay, good.
A very difficult Mirror Spirit section, probably the hardest one, barring possibly the Extra Vision.
There's only one Mirror Spirit in the Extra Vision, and it's just a matter, at least in my opinion, of just like timing the movement and double jumps in a rhythm.
Yeah, it's once you learn it, it's really quite easy in the Extra Vision, but to get it the first time usually takes a couple tries. At least that's my experience. Yep, so Balnor is doing the Galg Balm now, which is, like I said, going to go for the fastest strategy there, which will be really cool if it works. So you may want to take a look at that. Toro has just completed, I believe, perfectly the Mirror Spirit in 6-1.
Ooh, that was
like I
so
said,
close, but I got it.
Yep,
I like
perfect
how you
getting-
described that. You're saying that he's doing the
Nice.
Gelgbomb like it's some sort of dance.
I mean, it is, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
exactly what- that's
sort of
exactly
like
what it is.
manipulations.
Yeah, so
Nice,
Lots-
perfect stuff.
lots of good things happening all at once. Taro making it through the hard part of 6-1 perfectly cleanly. Valnir demonstrating the flawless Gelgbomb, which is also a recent discovery, because the NAM collection gives you a slight edge in terms of the way the hitboxes work, or more accurately, don't quite work. One of the very few mechanical differences in the port versus the original version. So you can do a version of the strategy in the original, but it's not exactly the same. And the NAM collection one is faster by about a second.
I just performed a jailbreak. I rescued the Samu from its cell by squeezing the wind bullet in a little crevice on the right side of that cell. It's a sort of weird thing that you can do in most categories except no skips.
Yeah, and that makes a route difference between what Neil is doing and what Toro did earlier, where Toro just did the platforming section, which is a difference of a few seconds. Actually, it looks like it should be a bigger difference, but actually it doesn't really make that big of a difference to just kind of go around and hit some switches.
For this category specifically, at least.
Yeah. Now Neil entering Joko, which started to mention before when Toro was on it. Probably the hardest boss, at least in my opinion, in terms of the risk of losing huge amounts of time by dying. But it's the same in all categories. There's no way to skip anything or make it faster. So just a question of dealing with really badly made hitboxes and standing on some tiles and stuff.
Yeah, for this section, I typically like to just use the analog stick to oscillate between things to give my thumb a break. It's also because it feels good to like flick it from left to right. Here we go. And of course, in doing so extremely fast, you can get this sort of like visual glitch where, like, for I think a single frame, one of the neighboring platforms goes back to a previous color and then goes back to yellow. It's a sort of weird thing. I don't know if you have anything to say about that specifically, Amosir.
I don't. My best guess is that it might be related to the fact that the way the tiles are actually the number of steps you need to take on them. It seems like it might be encoded in pairs of tiles. So if two of them are animating at once, it may be ambiguous as to what color the adjacent one should be.
Yeah.
I did kind of try and figure out. I was playing around with the memory on it at one point, trying to see if there were any secret colors other than yellow, green, blue, and purple. Because it seems like you would expect there to be a possibility for there to be a red one, but the way it's encoded means that no, there are exactly 3 possibilities. And that was also how I noticed that maybe they're encoded in pairs, and potentially that could explain that weird visual artifact, but could be also completely unrelated.
Yeah, if there was an additional color, it would probably mean that there'd be like a third turtle section to worry about and make the fight even longer than it already is. But we're doing the things right.
That's
I
not
should mention
good.
Joker's done.
Toro is already in Vision 6-2, which is the
Very good.
last normal level in the whole game. So having a very clean run so far. There is quite a bit of tricky stuff in here, including a pretty rough final couple sections. But after that, it's a gauntlet of a bonus level and a lot of bosses. So most of the stuff that can essentially cause a reset is going to be passed for Toro very soon.
Nice.
Yep, Neil now doing the patented
Enemy manipulation / wall clip. There's a reason why we have to enter and exit, or exit and enter back in to this area, and it's simply because these enemies that I'm using right now don't spawn in unless you do that. I think it's one of the oh crap. I think it's one of the things that is also present, I think, in any percent or all visions as well, with the enemies spawning in the next section if you do wall clip in 4-1, I believe. Right, Amoser?
Yeah, I don't remember the details of what happens in all visions, but yeah, there is definitely an interesting quirk there that we didn't notice right away.
Let's do bar jump with only 1 health left.
Oh. Wait, you doing Palladium with 1 heart?
Yeah. I'm used to it.
Unfortunately, even dying in that boss does not cost as much time as dying on the other bosses.
I feel like there's a sort of weight associated with the fight depending on the category you're running.
Gem.
Like, given the optimality that's present in some of them, right? If you were to die, right, for example, there in this category, you probably wouldn't be at as big of a disadvantage. But if you're doing no skips, for example, doing like a world record grind, then yeah, you would essentially have a dead run. Given there's not a whole lot of stuff you can do to save yourself out of standard play.
Inconsistent seems to be having a bit of a rough time in 3-2.
Oh
no, what's going on?
Stage.
I forgot a gem.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's
Did
the
you
one where
forget
you
the blue gem?
ride the gondola.
Oh my god. This one is the easiest to forget.
It's so out of the way. I always forget to grab it.
Right, Toro now doing the climb section, or maybe has already finished the climb section, depending on how far behind I am. But this is sort of the last really tricky platforming outside of the bonus level, but that's kind of a different beast altogether.
Yeah.
And so far looking good.
Music.
Yeah, Toro getting through that very nicely. And so that marks the end of the main game for Toro. So now it's just going to be bosses, which are shared between all the different categories. And then the bonus level. Actually, the bonus level is going to be between the bosses. And of course, the bonus level also has gems, so we're going to be seeing a different route there than we see normally in all visions, but it still can be completed in slightly over 2 minutes if it goes perfectly.
Now I am entering 6-2.
Got the cycle in the blue orb of 5-1.
Yeah, that's a really brutal
Oh, nice.
thing to go for.
Does the no skips optimization work for this category? I haven't bothered to check.
Yeah, a lot. Like the whole no skip strategy for the blue orb works in this category, and it's quite rough actually to go for, because it's even tighter. Because
you have to grab the gems.
From my perspective, yeah. Toro trying to get a quick Gladius here. We'll see if that
I
works
got a
out.
perfect Gelg there. At least as perfect as you can do on US.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, going for the optimal strategy there. That was good.
GG.
See if this giant moo will comply with my nonsense.
Toro not quite getting the quick Gladius, but doing a good backup, quickly jumping into one of the teleporters.
I actually never go for the quick one because
Oh,
I'm very bad at it. Okay, I did get all the...
still a very good Gladius. Now we're seeing the bonus level, which is obviously quite different from the kind of platforming you see in the main levels, in that there are very few floors, and there are a lot more enemies than you normally see.
You use those enemies to traverse around the level effectively.
Open Toro running a little low on health, may need an intentional death later on in order to make it through some of the latter sections. But otherwise, seems to be going fairly smoothly.
Nice.
Get this clean up here. Nice. That was actually really fast.
I'm really messing up. Oh my god. Cool.
The physics can be a big problem
Crap.
with this early section. You have to really kind of get your momentum going.
I'm
smoothly.
goofing up a little bit. Fine. Covered.
Yeah, this extra vision can be quite brutal because of all these bottomless pits, but has made it through that the first physics-based section with a minor hiccup, but recovering quite nicely. Yeah, Neil is wrapping up 6-2 now.
Well, we got one more section to go, or one more hallway before we can say that.
Yeah, true.
Gonna bounce up here. Ah! Okay.
Toro has just completed the
There's
final
a
mirror
really
spirit.
weird glitch that can happen here thanks to some like plane nonsense that doesn't get updated with giant moves. Weird. You want to elaborate on that a bit? It has no like actual application anywhere, but it's just one of the many bugs in this game.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember the details of it, but I know if you jump from one of the moving platforms directly to a giant moo, I believe, it doesn't update the plane to what you're normally on, which allows you to essentially just kind of walk off the edge of the world. And that used to be how in any percent you could skip something, but that has been obsoleted by other clips that you can do now. But still, there are ways you can make it happen accidentally too, which I believe has tripped people up before. But like I said, it honestly has been a while since I've looked at that particular situation, so I can't speak too much on it, unfortunately.
Now for a very hard part of 5-2. I'm going to try and go for a very fast cycle.
We're gonna do the green orb optimizations, or more so that damage bounce off of that flying move.
Oh, and that is my biggest time save yet. My biggest time loss yet.
Ouch.
Ouchie.
Whoops. Squeezed through the way I would have liked.
Toro now reaching the end of the extra vision.
Lost nice over a minute.
Yeah, a couple unfortunate deaths in the last section where you have to kind of grab a thing and let your momentum carry you underneath a spike. It can be very finicky. I've seen a lot of runners get tripped up by that in the past, so it's not rare at all. But still making it through the end of Extravision, and now it's just on to final bosses.
Oh man, that was so close.
Yeah, Neil
That was
narrowly
so
missing
close.
a fast strategy there, but still collecting the switches without having to completely restart that section.
I think it looks super cool, but it's like such a tight optimization, right? I think you said something about getting damaged twice makes it like only save barely enough time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have no idea.
Okay, so it's 3 minutes till my run is done. So
Excuse me?
green team is
Okay.
good to get at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, he started
ready.
way before any of us. I think I started my run when he was in World 2 already, if I'm not mistaken.
All the time.
And I'm entering Gaudius now.
2.5 minutes should be about.
Let's see if Gaudius treats me well. 2. Oh, that one's so far away. Oh, well, I got 3. I got 3 hits. Okay.
Oh
4,
my god.
5, 6.
Oh my god.
Ah, crap. Okay.
Oh my god. It happens again.
What happened?
Wait. Okay. Just some gate 5-2 gate shenanigans. Trying to grab the move through the gate, and I get it the first time, but then I get screwed by the time cutoff. I enter the the loading zone with the enemy, and it gets dark, and about like the last couple frames before I actually enter the next room, the time transitions to the eclipse, and I lose my enemy, and I have to get it back again, and I stutter. Definitely my worst stage.
Well, Toro is now entering the last, or is now in the last phase of the last boss, on pace for a very respectable sub 109 time. So this is just going to be a question of filling these cannons, avoiding the myriad of attacks that the boss throws at you. But other than that, there's not too much to it. You just drop enemies in these cannons, and then the boss dies, and that is the end of the game.
Got the mirror spirit for the extra vision coming up here. Grab the
Sure,
checkpoint
Neil already in
before I
the-
attempt it.
Already in the extra vision.
Okay, this is the last cannon. So the time is coming up, so green, get ready. Very soon. Green, now go.
Crap. Ah! Woo! Oh, man. This was an interesting series of events, but I saved it. Not gonna make
Yeah,
that.
very very impressive save actually. Yeah, and Toro has completed his run. So GG.
Nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Very very respectable time too.
Oops.
Close to a PB if I'm not mistaken.
It was almost PB. The extra vision and the final boss pretty much took it.
Oh man.
No, I mean being on pace that far into the run is
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, given that there can be so many things that go wrong with this category.
Oh man, I missed a very